Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, I noticed how she said African. And I'm like, this is something similar to what I had yesterday. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, okay. So did you get my information? Or how did you talk with me? Oh, you told us. Oh, okay, okay. Honestly, I do not because you know what? I am so let me
Let's get some good.
I'm trying to, I was trying to sit front, otherwise I have a tendency to misbehave.
Okay,
From old school days.
Are we all sitting at the same table?
Sit at this
we
table
good,
right
man.
here.
All right.
Yes, we are.
We good? Great job for the panel, y'all. Awesome.
So, like I said, I'm a dinosaur to tradition. I gotta see. So I'm talking to you later. Okay.
There's three youth group presenters. Okay. So they'll probably set one will stand.
Is it okay to put your laptop
Yeah.
here? Or
Okay.
No, that's fine. As long as you can't leave on that.
Yeah, we all should be. You're part of the presentation. You're just a name. I mean, you and I are just we're just here and Melanie. The whole it's just showing the support
Oh.
that we're all a team. It's this.
Oh. And then what's this?
Oh,
Oh no, thing.
I don't know. First one period.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Great.
Maybe I can go figure it out.
Yeah.
Go back home? About 2 hours. Flight's at 4. I gotta be at the airport. Right. Leave early now. I'll leave early. I might stay maybe an hour, if that. You know, I got. I'm tonight. We got a soccer game at home tonight, but the business cohort that I was a part of last year, they have a suite at the soccer center. In the morning, but I'll be back in time. I'm gone.
Hi. Good. How are you? Yeah.
Like you all, one day.
Be right back.
See what happens with what decision. Because it is.
Greg.
Because that one's going through.
because that one's going through an SDI converter, and I'm thinking it's having HDCP issues. And I think he has, because Macs always put up as encrypted content. Yeah, they will just put up as encrypted. Let's see, so now the Mac is turned off.
Okay.
They have to go back to a different. They have to go steal something. I was using an HDMI splitter the other day and it seemed to work.
You got it ready.
I got to get back to
Oh, you got it ready. Yeah,
got it.
Yeah. I have on my thing, so I'm gonna go straight to BW. I rent it from the airport, so I can just drop the car off and head right over. So, thank you all again.
It's just playing out of the
I'll follow up
laptop.
with all of you on Monday.
We
got to schedule some time too, as well. Yeah, so we can talk some more. Thank you guys. This is great. I'm glad it all came together.
output restaurant.
Right, where else?
Is he? Oh no, you know one of the youth. Okay. Oh yeah, no you. Review. Okay.
Yeah, this is the green tea spider. The spider that back in the day. Oh, this is. Thank you.
No, don't worry because I'm not. No, all the questions you don't have to answer all.
Oh, should I play it again?
Here, let me introduce yourself.
Yeah, let me go to another slide.
Yeah, Carlos Sanchez alongside you as well. Nice to meet you.
Mm-hmm. Should I just keep having the video play?
Right here, right? Have fun. This is what we're going to do. Okay? Don't get intimidated by the you guys are this. We need to learn right? So just be you.
Anything you have to say. You guys, this is so good.
Restaurant.
I would like water.
Is this?
Can I have a water?
Thank you.
What is it? I don't know what to do.
The other thing, I mean, if to make it easier, we could just have the link to the presentation on one of those computers. Would that be? Because then they would be controlling if we weren't listening. Okay, great.
Talk about during the presentation.
Yes, we ready? Okay. Perfect. Okay, great. Appreciate it. I don't want to splash anybody's computer. Oh no, that's okay. I was right.
They messed up my year. I'm a junior.
Oh, you're today?
Good to graduate early. So I will start asking each of you to introduce yourself and the program that you represent, okay? And then I'm gonna start asking questions. And once they're ready for the presentation, we'll go with the presentation. All right?
Hello.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, we ready.
I guess everybody has been waiting for this session because this is the future of our generations that is ready to present and talk about the environmental justice movement and how they are contributing to the movement and to the environmental justice in general. We're going to start with introduction. My name is Walkiria Pool. I am grateful to be the moderator today from Centro de Apoyo Familiar, CAF. We are extremely excited. Yesterday, we began to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, so we're very grateful. Dr. Sakobi, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, and to everybody else that is here. I will let the students and the youth and the future governors, president, senators, all of them that are here today to introduce themselves and also share what organization they represent. We're gonna start from our left, from my left to the right. Is that left? Right, left. Yep, it's on. You wanna go ahead, Carlos?
Hello. Hi, everyone. How you guys doing today? My name is Carlos Sanchez. I'm with the Psi EJ Scholars.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. My name is Vilma Gutierrez and I am from the Psi EJ Scholars as well.
Hello. My name is Tasia Thompson, and I am with the site EJ Scholars.
Hello. Okay. Hello, my name is Sumaira Pool. I'm part of CAF's Youth Eco Promoters Program.
Hello, how's it going? My name is Rafael Poole. I'm part of the CAF Youth Eco Promoters Program.
I'm Shoshana Campbell with the South Baltimore Community Land Trust, and I get the pleasure of working with all of these amazing kids that you see up here today.
Thank you. We are so grateful to have you here this afternoon, enjoying an amazing lunch. And I would love to, we're gonna have a presentation, and once they let me know that we're good, we're gonna go, are we good?
Yeah. Okay. Or just perfect to sleep. And then also, your audio is off. Okay, that's why. Just give me 1 second. Did you already have the angle open? Now get to it.
You need a sheet? All right, you're gonna sit.
I'll do slides for you. Super great page. The microphone.
Okay. So, all right, we're about to get started. So, hi everyone. I already introduced myself. Oh, sorry, too loud. But I am aware this is our presentation for South Baltimore, and I am aware that there are some fellow South Baltimore residents who came all the way here to join us here today. So, I would like to ask for them to stand up, please, wherever you guys are. Want to acknowledge them for coming out here and traveling to hear us talk. So we'll get started really quickly. We are young environmental justice leaders, and so with that being said, I would like to ask a favor from all of you. So this is the biggest crowd that biggest room that we're presenting to. So I would like for you to ask, we'll support you guys as audience, and we will in return we would like for you guys to support us while we're presenting. And yeah, thank you. So, yeah, we are, because at the end of the day, we are in this together, and for this movement, we need the help from each other to succeed. So, this is our presentation, we are like we mentioned, the Summer Youth Environmental Justice Scholars. Don't mind the title, we got to change it. But because we started in the summer, but our work is still ongoing and there's a lot to do. And we are in collaboration with the South Baltimore Community Land Trust and the Charm Center, which brings scientific expertise to support communities' concerns. And our presentation title is Reviving Our Communities, Our Neighborhoods After 100 Years of Poisoning. And hopefully at the end of the presentation, you'll understand why we chose this title and the significance behind it. So next slide, please. So this is the team. We came together from different backgrounds, different knowledge, and bringing different skills to the table. From our youth side, we have myself, we have Velma.
Hi, I am from the Brooklyn community.
Hi, I'm Tasia. I am originally from Cherry Hill, right next to Incinerator, but I moved closer to be to CSX Co-Terminal.
And I forgot to mention, but I'm from Lakeland, and we're all South Baltimore communities. And we also are joined by different partners from our South Baltimore Community Land Trust side. We have Dr. Manley Thomas, Greg Saltel, and Shoshana Campbell, amazing supporters in this work that we've been doing, as well as our wonderful academic partners, Dr. Chris and Dr. Chris Henney, Dr. Nicole Fabricant, and Maddie. So can we just get a round of applause for them as well, please? Thank you, everyone. And so really quickly, so what we worked over the summer, we worked around health and environmental questions that residents in South Baltimore have been asking for so long, that have gone so long without being answered. And we'll talk about that now. So really quickly, I forgot to mention, this will be as engagement. We're gonna try to engage with you all as much as possible, so get ready for that. And really quickly, because it is a big crowd, so just shout out, what are some of the first things you guys see in the image in front of you? Playground, okay. Cool. Children. Okay, a lot of suggestions. I heard one of the major ones being children, being the playground. And big pile of coal, yes. And the background is that's the pile, the open air CSX coal pile. And that has been a major concern for residents going back decades. And later on back in December 30th, 2021, I believe, the coal in the background, it exploded. And can we play that?
And take a look at this new footage of yesterday's explosion in South Baltimore. The video was given to WJZ by Howard Rosenberg, who owns a business a little more than a mile away from the facility. You can see the initial blast and then a mushroom cloud followed by dark black smoke. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The cause is still under investigation.
So pretty terrifying, isn't that, right? And you guys remember in the image before, there was kids playing, right? So now seeing that image and seeing how close it was, what happened, and realizing that there's kids playing there and residents living there, what are some initial reactions, or what are some initial things that come to mind? I hear insecure, fear. Yeah, I agree, fear. And that explosion did cause fear. It caused damage to people's properties. Not just physical damage to their properties, it caused emotional damage, it caused mental damage to residents, it traumatized kids. And this facility that's the reason why a facility has been a concern for residents that they've been reporting and for decades. And here's some more basic information on why it is such a concern. So what you see now, or what you will see now, is a drone footage that our team gathered over the summer. And you can see that the coal is uncovered. And it's a pretty huge coal facility. It makes Baltimore the second largest exporter on the East Coast. Not in the city, it's then the second largest in the East Coast. Can you guys imagine that? And this coal can transport up to 14 million tons of coal. Can anybody imagine how much that is? I can't picture that. A ton is a lot to begin with. Now imagine 14 million tons. And that amount of coal is estimated to be worth over $2 billion. Yeah, exactly. Does anybody know what we can do with $2 billion for our communities? Right, exactly. We can do so much for environmental justice, for our communities that we live in, for the people that we care about. But out of those $2 billion, zero, and I'll repeat it again, $0 goes on a per ton basis in community impact fees. So imagine that $2 billion this company makes is transporting, and yet not a single dime goes to the residents or the communities that they're operating on. And as you saw in the video, if it's still playing, yes, none of the terminal itself nor the train tracks are required to be covered. It's open air. And this transports coal over like between 60 to 100 feet away from homes in Mount Winans and Cherry Hill. And another thing to, the coal is either one or the most explosive dust there is. So you saw how big the explosion was just from a small amount. Now imagine 14 millions worth of that explosive material. I would not want to be around that. Next slide. So residents demanded major changes following the explosion. And if you can see to the right, the permit for this facility expires soon. And this is a key opportunity for the Maryland Department of Environment to make some long needed changes for the communities. And we'll share what the communities is asking for and what our research, the research that we've been doing to address those specific concerns. But for now, we'll share the EJ context that the terminal operates in. And for that, I'm more than happy to pass it to Tasia.
Okay. Everybody can hear me? Okay. So this map that you see is the map of redlining of South Baltimore made in 1937. This map was made by officials. It was a choice. We all know that choices have consequences. One of these consequences is that it contributes to all the polluting industries that we live next to. But you can only see so much from this map, so we want to figure out what it looks like from the ground. So this was 100 years later after the map you just recently seen. This house was last standing until 2011 when the city of Baltimore demolished it. This house is also from one of the redlining communities called Fairfield. From the map you've seen earlier, Fairfield is one of the communities that was inside of the industry polluting facilities that was red. Fairfield was one of the 3 communities neighboring to Curtis Bay that are no longer there. They didn't have a choice to move, but between the explosion, spills, and leaks that they went through on a daily, they had no choice. But this house just wasn't a statistic. This house, it had a family that lived in it. This house was from the family of Jimmy Drake and Debbie Mitchell. Sorry. They didn't want to move, so that's why the house was standing until 2011, after all the years of it being being near polluting facilities. So can we take a moment to reflect on the 3 lost communities of the neighboring Curtis Bay communities? To prevent it from not happening again. So thank you for your moment of silence to reflect on the lost communities of South Baltimore. But this is a map from the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. It shows that Curtis Bay is in a 99th percentile nationwide, living near and in the most dangerous facilities required to have a risk management plan. The map shows about 70 to 100 facilities in and around the neighborhood. Now I'll pass it on to Carlos.
Yeah, can you guys imagine that? One polluting industry is a lot. Now imagine 70 to 100 times that. Having so many polluting industries adds up to a major health burden. In this chart, you can see that we have 38 different sources of particulate matter. Particulate matter is known to cause cancer and early death. Particulate matter comes in different sizes, and that it's really dangerous because they can be small enough for you to breathe in, but big enough that it gets stuck in our lungs and it will build up over time. CSX, though, you guys remember the image I showed you guys earlier, the big open pile of coal? Yeah, I see some head nods. That terminal that we showed you earlier is one of the 38 sources of particulate matter pollution in South Baltimore.
So for residents having enough, they have complained about it and reported about it to the Maryland Department of Environmental, right? Yeah. So, for example, residents created a petition 10 years ago to MDE, and they wanted MDE to protect them from the dark dust, which we believe is coal dust, that is getting inside and outside residents' homes. The next slide, please. So as we see in the pictures here, with the car, it was after the CSX explosion. So if you can't read the car, it says, "I survived the coal blast." And on the other picture, as we can see, is a woman's face. And the black thing on her face is coal dust. And now we are going to hear what a resident has to say about her daily living right across the CSX coal terminal.
I've lived in Curtis Bay my whole life, and this is what we're dealing with now because of the cold thing. You can see all this stuff it's so caked on. Look, and we're just breathing it all in. It doesn't matter. You clean it, and it's wet before it even dries, it's black again. Like, I mean, we're breathing all this stuff in, and it's like, I know a lot of people that they're all dying from cancer. They've all been born and raised right here in Brooklyn and Curtis Bay. It doesn't matter how much you clean it, it's dusty before you even, it dries everywhere. Like there, I mean, look, it just falls off. Look at that. Like really, one little white, that ain't no pushing, that's no nothing. Look, steady handed. You know what I mean? It's terrible. It really is. Look. It's from the coal mines over there, whatever, that's been here for years. Like, the kids run around and they have sweat coming down their face, and it's just big, giant beads of black dust just everywhere. You know what I mean? So if they're sweating it, we're breathing it in, like, it's not any good. It's not. I mean, it's disgusting. No matter how, like, on the outside or the inside. It just, I'm sorry, it just was a big old thing. I mean, and that's just, so, it's terrible.
So as we heard in the video about the residents' perspective, now we are going to hear what the head of MDE has to say about the CSX coal terminal being in the community.
But yeah, I just want to clarify, we know it's coal dust. You can't deny that. There's trains. I mean, just me trying to get here, I couldn't even get here because of a train.
Right, I was stuck in the.
Yeah, I was all trying to get here a little earlier, but my point is, it's, you have to be blind not to see what's going on in this community. And not to see what the pollution in the air in terms of, from the cold and everything that's going on. It's a problem. We're not blind. And again, no more rhetoric. It's, you all are tired of hearing us talk. We are going to make some things happen.
So as we heard in the video, she says that we are going to make something happen. There, she is ready for action. But clearly, the residents have defined what that action needs to be. So residents are calling for a just transition away from the coal to an unsafe material to a safer material. So the first one is we want full enclosure of the terminal to be fully enclosed to stop the dust and to open the coal terminal. And the second one is enforceable limits to be set to the is to be set for the terminal and for the pollution from the terminal. And then the third one is to have per ton community mitigation fees to be established to go to the community and address health and quality of life damages. So what we heard from Carlos, as he said, how much can the coal export, which is 14 million tons of coal, and how much is the coal actually worth is $2 billion. So from that, the community gets nothing. All we do is get sick from the toxicating fumes that we breathe in.
And these demands that residents are asking for is not demands that they just pull out of thin air. These are demands from proven examples of things that are already happening around the world. Phasing out coal, full enclosure of the terminal, per ton fees. For example, if I can, let me just take this with me. Phasing out coal, but before our coal exploded in 2020, the city of Richmond was already doing a transition away from coal. And in places like Chicago and Illinois, there's already full enclosure of coal terminals after community residents were concerned about coal dust going into their communities. And there's already a wide range of polluting industries that already pay a per ton mitigation fees to their communities. And the study shows that the health and environmental cost for a per ton of coal is roughly around $182. And yet none is, I think again, like we mentioned, not a single dime is going to communities. So now it's time to get to the real fun stuff. You guys now know what residents are calling for, why they're calling for it, and the concerns. So now we'll talk about the work that we've been doing, our research, and the three major questions that our team came up with to answer in correlation to what residents were asking for. And those three major questions being is one, is there's coal dust getting into communities outside of the terminal and the train tracks? At what distances can we detect coal dust from the train tracks and the terminal? And the last one being, at what rate is it accumulating? How often is it going outside the terminal and the train tracks into the surrounding neighborhoods? And for that, I'll pass it back on to Velma.
So here are the methods we designed to address residents' questions and observations, as Carlos has said, of the dark dust and inside their homes near the coal terminal and rail line. So this is the first observations that we did was the tape strips. So what the tape strips are for is to see how much dust accumulates over time. And what we have done was we did it for a span of 2 weeks. And over the span of 2 weeks, we have collected the pallets of wood, which was that we had double-sided tape, and we put it on a piece of plywood and to see if it actually accumulates. So we did that in a span of 2 weeks so that It was day 3, day 7, day 10, and 14 when we collected them. So now I'm gonna pass out to Tasia.
Okay. So similar to tape strips, we use another method called tape lifts. Tape lifts, on the other hand, worked as to show the clear image of what the dark dust is. So by doing that, we use the same locations that we use for the tape strips. I'm sorry, tape strips, and we determined to see how much coal or dark dust was getting inside people's homes and on the outside of their homes. So you might be wondering, how did we actually see what the dark dust is? We didn't use it. We sent it off to a scientist in California to use a electronic microscope to get a better, clear image of what exactly are we seeing. So in the kind of weird black and white picture that you see, that would be a better of a clear picture of what we actually see in our houses. Pass it on to Carlos.
Thank you guys for that, for explaining the method. So now we'll talk about so this is a visual representation of the path that the CXX rail line takes, and that goes through each of the South Baltimore communities on its way to the terminal in Curtis Bay. And for the locations of where we conduct our research, we did our first round was at locations in Lakeland, Mount Winans, and Curtis Bay. And we also use this map as a reference point. We decided to put our research to take place at different locations away from the red line, which is the CXX coal train tracks, and within the green area, which is the South Baltimore communities. And I'll pass it back. Now time to share some preliminary findings. So.
Yeah, I got you. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Carlos, Vilma, Tasia, for giving us a background on environmental justice concerns and with the CSX coal terminal in Curtis Bay. And as Carlos mentioned, now we're going to get to what are the preliminary findings from the work that we did together over the summer. And so these are, like I said, preliminary. These haven't been published yet, but we want to be able to communicate about how we are gathering, and as a team, we're gathering scientific evidence that's corroborating the experiences and observations and concerns of residents in Curtis Bay and also throughout South Baltimore. So let's get started with looking at the tape strips. So the method that Vilma told us about, which is where we were leaving adhesive strips of tape out in the community for a certain time period, and then so that we can see, one, how far there's this dark dust, this putative or possible coal dust that's collecting in the community, and how far away from the coal terminal from coal carrying trains that this dust is collecting, and then also how quickly is that collection happening. So if we look at this grid, each rectangle on the grid is one of those tape strips that we left out in the community. And as you go from left to right on the grid, you're getting further away from the coal terminal. And then as you go top to bottom, this corresponds with how long the tape strips were left out in the exposed to accumulate dust in the community. And so what we can see is that there's accumulation. If we're looking at these two residential columns on the far right, we can see that there's this accumulation of dark dust, and it might be a little bit hard to see on the screen, but there's accumulation of dark dust even after or as soon as 3 days of leaving these tape strips out in the community. And so this is getting to this first question of is there some accumulation of dark dust in the community? How far is it happening? And then how quickly does this accumulation occur? And so this is kind of the first step. Then we moved on to actually taking these tape strips and getting a closer look of about what's actually collecting on them. So we use these light microscopes, things that you might find in your high school, everyday high school classroom, middle school classrooms, to actually look at the dust. And so on the left, in the image on the left, this is a microscope image of coal from the CSX coal terminal. And so this was a composite sample of coal that we received from the coal terminal. And then we were able to compare this sample of coal under this light microscope two samples of dark dust, of likely coal dust that we collected with our tape strip method in the community. And you can see just the the very clear similarities between the material that we have directly from the coal terminal and also and what we collected in the community. You can see these kind of this angular, structure and form of the particles, obviously the black, dark dust. And so this is the image on the right is from a location that's near the coal terminal. So let's move a little bit further away. At a residence home about 5 blocks away from the coal terminal, we can still see the accumulation of this dark dust. And what we're seeing on the right is accumulation after just a week of being out in the community. So you can imagine that, and as Carlos mentioned, this coal terminal has been in the community since 1882. So this is, and when we're thinking about cumulative impacts and cumulative effects within the community, this is over 100 years of accumulation of this dark dust, of this coal dust within the community. So moving a little bit further away, we still see evidence, or further away, 10 blocks away near the local high school, we still see evidence of this dark dust, likely coal dust within the community. So taking this a step further to the method that Tasia told us about with the tape lifts and sending it off to a partner in California and another partner actually here at University of Maryland to take a closer look at the collections from within people's homes, on the surfaces inside of people's homes, and then on surfaces outside of people's homes as well. So what we're seeing here is an electron microscope image and the chemical composition of a coal particle that is, I guess it was called a standard reference material, which means that we know that this is coal. It's definitive that we know that this is coal, so that we can compare our collections from within the community to this reference material. So we can see that there's carbon, oxygen, calcium, aluminum, silicon, and sulfur that are major components of this coal particle. Moving on to a settled dust sample that we took from the community, we see a similar appearance and similar structure, but most importantly, we see really the same chemical composition from within the sample. We see carbon, oxygen, calcium, sulfur again. And so this is all a part of building this evidence that is supporting what community residents have been saying that they're experiencing in the community and just living in the neighborhood for decades. And so this is all a part of that evidence building. And so just to summarize, these three elements and these three of the tape strip, or the tape strip collections, the tape lifts, and then looking at them under the two types of microscopes, the light microscopes and the electron microscope, is kind of just the start of the work that we're doing together. We started over the summer. The students will be able to continue, the scholars will be able to continue doing this work and continue to collect evidence, and not just in Curtis Bay, but also in other South Baltimore communities. Carlos was talking about the map showing the rail line and showing the different South Baltimore communities. And so this environmental injustice of having the coal terminal in the community is also an injustice that is related to a lot of other communities in South Baltimore. And so we want to make sure that these tools and that this evidence building is also going to be accessible and engaging of the communities that are also affected by this injustice. And so in interest of time, I'll skip over these, but there's, I guess to sum things up, there's more work that's going on.
Let's put our hands together for this amazing group. They have definitely spent a summer that it's been very impactful. And if this is what they're doing now, imagine what's going to happen 10 years from now. So I'm extremely excited and grateful for the work this youth has been doing. We're going to take questions from the audience. And before that, we're going to have the eco promoters. This team met together throughout the summer as well. There was 12 kids that had the opportunity to also work on the environmental justice work. We're gonna let Sumara and Rafael just share a little bit of what their experience was, and then I want to make sure that we can ask one or two questions from the audience before we finish it up.
That's perfect. Sumara.
Hello, my name is Sumaira Pool. I'm part of the Youth Eco Promoters Program. It's an honor to be here alongside, everybody and everyone who's really making, an impact on the environment. A little bit about our program. We are a group of around 10 kids who are basically working to spread awareness on environmental justice to other youth alike. And during the summer, we have been working on a couple of projects, including our book, Evan's Impact, as well as we had to make a presentation, and we also gave it to a home buyer seminar as well. So it's been a very interesting summer, to say the least. A little bit about our book, Evan's Impact. The story behind it is a bit interesting because at first we didn't know what we were going to have the character be about. There were so many different factors, so many different things that we wanted to do since all of the other youth there, we all had different ideas. They're all extremely creative. And so that was a really fun experience. But when we were trying to make the character, we wanted it to be somebody who was, relatable, but also somebody that you could really also look up to because usually when it's, a relatable person, maybe, we all have different personalities and different traits that define us. So that was a bit of a dilemma, trying to pick a good character. So we decided to set on a kid named Evan. He is a 7th grader. His parents were immigrants from Argentina, and the story is basically how much is basically on how much he loves soccer and activities and sports. And we decided to center on soccer because every single one, of the youth and the teenagers there, they really like soccer. Like we all knew celebrities, from soccer, like Cristiano Ronaldo. We're like, yeah, let's do something like that. So we decided to center, on soccer. And also I know it's something, that a lot of people are interested in. So it would really help, to spread the word about the book. So basically, the story is about Evan. He is a 7th grader who, loves soccer. And during these times, during his way to practice, he litters along with his friends. And throughout the story, we can see that this, how the title says, it really has a big impact, on his, soccer practice and everything if you check out the book. But basically, he contributes to something, called storm drainage, which basically also the storm drainage system also got clogged because of the trash that he had littered before, as well as, other trash that had accumulated in the storm drainage system. And then due to that, his soccer game was canceled because the soccer field had, flooded. Had flooded. So then after a while, he starts to realize that what he did was wrong, that littering was wrong, and that he contributed, to the ruin of, his environment's health, as well as contributed to his soccer game being canceled. And then basically around in the end, he forms a community cleanup group with, his friends from school, and they all come together to clean up the soccer field. And eventually the game is able to be rescheduled. And so that's kind of a little bit of the plot in the book. You can also check it out through our QR code that we have. We'll have flyers available on the table out front. So if anybody's, interested, you can go check it out there. I'm going to ask, Rafi to share a little bit about more of the creative details of the book, as he was actually the illustrator for the art of the book. And so he's going to be sharing a little bit about his ideas, and as well as our ideas that we all mentioned during the duration of the program.
Thank you, everybody. I can't really pretend that I know much about the science part of it, and all that stuff, the technical part, because all I did was draw a book personally. But I think that it was important for us to have a Hispanic kid, because in our community in Maryland, Prince George's County, there's a lot of kids that could relate to that, soccer and stuff. I think a big part of that was having a kid that, maybe didn't know a lot about climate change, a lot about environmental justice, like me. Personally, I didn't really know much about that, but through the Eco Promoters program, I got to learn a lot more about what the stuff that was affecting our world. And I think that, I think that it was important for us to show that, no matter how small you are, no matter what race you are, no matter what gender, what political spectrum, I think that is important for us to, take care of our Earth, because there's only one Earth, right? We have to protect it. And I think that, well, first of all, I have to give a shout out to the other kids that were there. They were the ones that made up the story, all that. I helped a little bit, but it was really them that came up with the plot details. They're not all here, but Sumaira and them, my sister, yeah, they all came up with the story beats and the elemental plots. I put my little twist on it creatively, but yeah, pretty much that was what we did. And yeah, I think that we're all here for a purpose. I think that it's to protect our Earth. I think that it's to take care of this world that we live in. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rafi and Sumara. Um, as, thank you. As you can see, the kids, the youth, they were really busy. Some in research, another one in writing a book. You can get the QR code there, and they actually publish it in Amazon, so you can purchase. They want to start doing some environmental justice in Latin American, so they're gonna be doing some fundraising throughout the year, and so we are, as adults, we're so very proud. Chachanda and I were just saying, wow, we let them think, we let them do, and they delivered. So we are extremely grateful for that and for everyone who supported them. I want to take 2 questions. We are behind schedule, but I know we can squeeze 2 more minutes to the group. Yes, we have a question.
Hello, my name is Shakita Battle, and my company is Be Vision. I'm just a company here in Maryland, and I have to say you all have done a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. Thank you for your hard work, and you represented your generation extremely well today. And so I'm jumping to my question because of time's sake. Great job on the book. I think it's a great idea. Yesterday, Sylvia in the presentation said that the system is already made. All we have to do is work that system so that we can efficiently use our time and resources. So my question to you today is targeting more towards the CSX research that you've done. I hope that you have plans to publish your findings. And so my question is, along what the conference has been talking about unlikely partnerships, how it strengthens the voice and make our fight stronger or make the mission stronger. I wanted to know, have you considered some of these unlikely partnerships so that it can get in front of the right audience, such as the governor for us, and then the president, like Sylvia was saying, that is what they did in Michigan. It was that hard for them. So for us, I think this is worthy of the fight, and I hope that your voice is heard. So I wanted to know about the unlikely partnerships you may have considered. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great question. Do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, great question. So when it comes to publishing our results, once we do gather everything, we would do collect all of our data. We are working on publishing those findings, as well as creating a collaborative report with the Maryland Department of Environment. We had a video, but we didn't have that much time to show it, of us presenting the same presentation to them and talking about like what's our finding, what the community is asking for, and our work with MDEs to make sure that they uphold what residents are asking for and calling for.
And by the way, I have to say, we are committed to continue to work with the youth throughout this. It's not going to be a final, and Nick is here, and Chris is here, and Dr. Wilson. We're going to keep working together to push this in front of the right people and really make changes and see impact. So I'm so grateful for your questions, and thank you for the answer. One more, and then we'll finish it. Oh, there was, yeah, two more. So one here and one here. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Wilson.
So with that deadline coming up on September 30th in just a couple of weeks with MDE and the coal permit, what could people who are in this room right now do to support the demands to change that permit?
Carlos?
Yeah, I guess I was wanting to answer the questions today, but that's perfectly fine. So to answer that question, I would say that a lot of people just, you can clearly see what a small hand of youth could do and have accomplished. And now imagine how much more a lot of more youth could do if they have the proper support from their peers and their adults. There's this thing that started that was like, a lot of people, adults, like to tell youth that, this is what's been going on and this is what's going to happen. You don't have the ability to change it, and you're just a kid. What do you know? And that is not true. As youth, I'm going to take the moment to as well say, like, I'm proud of the youth that are up here today and the ones who, continue to fight for their communities, because you can clearly see what a youth can do with the support from adults and having faith in them. They can accomplish a lot of things. And this is just scratching the surface of the full potential that youth can do.
Great job, Carlos. I think another thing that you guys could do is, like you said, this information needs to get in front of a lot of people, the governor, whoever you know that you can put this information in front of, or put this bug in their ear to say, hey, this is research for them. We'll share this presentation. Hopefully it can get out to you all. But I think just supporting in that way by just connecting, and then also just supporting and sending this information to whoever you think this information is useful to.
All right, quickly here. Hi, my name is Gary Harris. I'm Managing Director for the Center for Sustainable Communities. I live right down the Eastern Shore in a place called Hampton Roads, Virginia. And in Hampton Roads, Virginia, it's a large exporter of coal as well. Matter of fact, I think it's number one. And the exact same effects in a place called Lambert's Point. For decades, that coal dust has just been blowing over. By rail transport and also by staging of the coal as well, and such. And the health effects have been greatly recorded and such. But I was curious whether or not have you benchmarked with the folks down there in Hampton Roads and their challenges and getting their data and such and their results. They have a program to enhance the air quality monitoring down there called TAMS. And it goes out into the community and brings in data via monitoring, but also getting the voices of the community involved in the process as well. Exact same problem.
Wow. Well, guys wanted to add anything, or just was more like a comment? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So this is my first time hearing of Hampton, Virginia, but we did learn about another place, Richmond, California, right?
Mhm.
So they went through the same struggle we are going through, the same Black and brown community, but they overcome the facility. So in a way, we try to use the same ideas and method that they used. I'm pretty sure we were in contact with them, right? Yeah, so we were in contact with them to help our research and make it stronger. But that's surprising that Eastern Shore is also going through something of the same. I didn't know about this until now. Thank you. Wow.
Well, I guess this is why we're here, to help each other. One thing that we also committed to do is to translate a lot of this material. We want to make sure that it gets to the community that is being mostly affected. We're working together as a team to make sure that we can educate and we can bring this information down to the community at a community level so they can understand it and we can really make a greater impact. So thank you again. Let's put our hands together one more time for this amazing panel. And thank you, all of you, for being here today. Thank you, Dr. Wilson, and everybody that made it possible. Well done, guys. Well done.